Hello and welcome to an edition of Homefront with a Difference. This week, we're coming from the BBC Good Homes Show at the National Exhibition Centre in Birmingham. The exhibition is open until Sunday, and all the leading retail names in decorating and interior design are showcasing their wares. The Homefront team is also here, and there's a chance to ask questions and to pick up some tips from the experts. Coming up on this week's show, Jocasta Innes joins the hard graft at the Lucy's Barn conversion in Norfolk. Peter Plaskett proves that wallpaper can be a worthwhile weekend project. And Kevin MacLeod predicts the hot interior styles coming up in the near future. All around me here are the latest fads and fashions for the home. From the hottest paint colours to the newest furnishing prints and flooring ranges. But what makes certain interiors fashionable at certain times? And what will the fashionable houses of the millennium look like? Kevin MacLeod does a little crystal ball gazing.
Look at the main high street interior design outlets and their new ranges for spring and summer '98, and you'll see the same ideas and concepts repeated over and over again. And these trends don't happen by accident.
I mean, why is it you can't move at the moment for the English country kitchen look? And as for colour, purple is everywhere. I mean, here's a plate from Cargo that's purple, and here's a lilac body spray from Sainsbury's.
Interior design is becoming more and more like fashion, with changing trends and new collections every season.
And these trends have really come about through a whole host of different influences.
Amazingly, the biggest influence on fashion is global events. Believe it or not, the state of the world affects the colour of your living room. For example, the exploration of the pyramids in the 1920s had a real effect on Art Deco architecture, and even the latest blockbuster movie can have an instant effect.
Trends reflect the world around us.
But who translates these global events into products for us? People like Jenny Little, a colour consultant who works for companies like Dulux. What influences her?
It's all sorts of things. It's maybe the films we're watching. Maybe it's major cultural events. Maybe it's a focus of attention on an area of the world because of a political event, or something like, handing back Hong Kong, or a war in a certain area, or, anything that is visual is potential inspiration and stimulation.
Who'd have thought so much planning went into a pot of paint? But there are more clear-cut examples.
Hong Kong and the Orient have sent out vibes in all sorts of directions. For this Rilux carpet range, colour consultant Annabelle Alton took her inspiration from one Chinese artefact in the Victoria and Albert Museum.
I researched all this in the V&A because they have a large collection of Oriental artefacts, if you like, and I was able to extract colours from China, from sculpture, from glass, from textiles and from paintings. This in particular is a Chinese food box, and that in fact is the main inspiration for the entire carpet range.
So you started this 2 years ago?
That's right.
And what's the result?
Well, the result is this, a magnificent carpet range with 72 colours. So we've managed to span the spectrum from beige and cream and white right through the colour spectrum and right up to brown.
But while the global manufacturer and the retail do determine a lot of what we buy, they can't account for one major influence, the maverick.
The mavericks are those designers who can alter fashion overnight. French designer Philippe Starck did it in the 80s with his squiggly shapes, and Terence Conran changed the face of the 60s with his clean lines and natural finishes. The new enfant terrible of design is Tom Dixon, and in his new role as design head at Habitat, he's bringing his vision to the masses direct.
I don't think people are so anti buying new or fresh design. What's often inhibited them is the price. The test will be if we can do some very advanced stuff and have it at the right price, and then we'll see whether people will really buy it or not.
Now, while Habitat have chosen Tom Dixon to be the John Galliano of design, what about the rest of the high street? Amanda Clark of BHS Home explains.
People are so used to the newness, the seasonality of fashion, and by that I mean clothing fashion, and that is now becoming so much a part of home, that need to refresh, relook, renew your home is very, very important, and gives the same kind of buzz that fashion gives people.
So now you know who and what influences interior design fashion and why we can't get enough of it. The big question, though, is what the future holds. What interior trends will be hitting the high street in the millennium?
Now, we're going to show you 3 visions of the future. And in order to do this, we've got an empty studio. It's like a blank canvas. And we've built 3 room sets in it in the hope of trying to predict what's going to happen in a couple of years. Now, what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of products which are top end of the market. They're very expensive, but they're craftsman made. And what should happen in a couple of years is that some of these ideas ought to trickle down and filter into the retail market. Our first room is a kind of east meets west, strong, minimal interior.
The consultants we've interviewed all said the Orient is going to play a bigger role in our lives. But I think the Eastern look will be distilled down into simple shapes and essential Eastern colours like jade green and lacquer red. Industrial materials such as metal flooring will add a really chic twist, but this harder look will also probably be tempered with some softer colours and materials.
If colours are going to be more muted, then they're also going to be much more graphic, used in slabs or planes to give a much more crisp effect.
Again, strong masculine shapes and materials are going to be balanced by softer fabrics and leathers. And these softer, more organic textures and colours will continue onto the walls with natural grass papers, a kind of 70s look reinvented.
For our final room, the sitting room, nearly all our style predictors came up with the same idea that naturals were going to be in for quite a long while yet.
And this means materials like leather and wood, set off by good quality craftsmanship. Large, simple shapes and feminine colours. And surprisingly, pale, watery blues are going to be used a lot more on walls as the new natural.
And if you're not sure about all these strong masculine forms, then you could choose an old favourite, one that is bound to last. Like this wonderful 60s recliner from Charles Eames. Or this exemplary piece designed by Marcel Breuer at the Bauhaus in the 1920s. These are classic designs that will never die.
If your dream is living in a barn, there are 2 ways you can do it. You could go down this route and buy a kit home, which you can build from scratch and then customise to your needs. Or you could do it the way Caroline and Anthony Lucy are, and buy a derelict barn and then convert it to your own specification. Homefront's been following the progress of the Lucys over the last month. This week, Jocasta Innes helps them create a drawing room. But things are not exactly going to schedule. 11 weeks into the project, and tension at the barn is high. Jocasta Innes is due to arrive on site to inspect the drawing room she'll be designing, but the room is nowhere near ready.
be done today. And 2.5 hours later, it's bloody bad.
And to make matters worse, a builder turns up 2 hours late for work.
Dedication on this job, and you don't bother to come here at all. All right? I'm sorry, but it's dedication. There's just too much to do. I feel like just walking down the lane and at this moment in time not coming back. Right now, I want to cry, I want to run away, and I just want a big cuddle from Anthony. Okay? Yeah. Live again.
The room's still incomplete, and Jocasta arrives.
This is my drawing room, Jocasta.
Oh, very cosy, Caroline.
Yes, I know. This is going to be my posh, don't touch, just look room.
It's where you have tea parties.
Yes.
No tea party is complete without the proper furniture to display the hostess's china. Jocasta thinks she can revive Caroline's old dresser. A fortnight later, Caroline visits Jocasta's workshop to help with the transformation. It's a welcome break from the chaos of the barn.
When I first bought it at the auction, I fell in love with it, Jocasta.
It's got a nice shape, but I don't like the colour, really. Do you like colour?
Well, I did originally, but then I've got no taste, have I?
What I've got in mind is we're going to turn it a very, very delicate duck egg blue, and it's going to be stained and then limed. And you honestly won't believe how different it looks.
A chemical stripper and then a rub down with wire wool removes the old varnish.
So how's our wonderful room coming along?
Anthony's doing the plastering, and oh yeah, he's not. Oh, he's multi-talented.
This is where any plasterer watching will be highly amused to see the mess I'm likely to make of this. It's not my game at all, but I've learned.
Well, now we've finished it, what do you think? Better?
Oh, it's beautiful. You are right, Jocasta. I must have had a bit of goosemuck in your eyes when I first bought it.
No, it's just you've got no taste.
I know, Jocasta. Come on, you show me what taste is.
Okay.
Next, the surfaces are given a good wash down.
You don't have to do it quickly.
I do everything quickly, Jocasta. I'm in a rush.
But maybe you're not doing it thoroughly.
I never do things properly.
Well, then it's not going to work. You just got to take instructions, all right, Caroline?
Yes, boss.
A wire brush brings up the grain. And then Jocasta mixes 2 wood wash paints together to get the desired blue and starts painting. When the paint is dry, a layer of a special liming paste is applied. This is rubbed back to expose it embedded in the wood grain.
What do you think no! You're not meant to scrub at it like a sort of madwoman. Gently and not too fast. Because what will happen, it's going everywhere.
Oh.
Look, just do it, just be gentle.
Back at the barn, Anthony is frantically getting the drawing room ready for decorating.
I've been thinking really hard about the decorating scheme. I think what I was coming up with is pretty close to what you wanted. Feminine, formal, and look but don't touch, okay? So I first thought the walls should be a very, very soft sort of duck egg blue. I remembered this room in Sweden, and this is actually a hand-painted Chinese 18th century wallpaper.
Are you going to be doing this?
I thought we could have one of those little magnolia or peony trees either side of the sofa.
Oh, it's very posh.
And then we could have the odd bird and the odd sort of flower. I mean, it'd be quite fun, wouldn't it, to have a bird sitting on that beam there.
Oh, it'd be worth it.
Yeah.
Oh, Jocasta. So exciting.
I know.
Jocasta wants to use distemper paint, which has a soft blotting paper finish. But first, the plaster needs to be sealed with PVA solution.
I wish you'd stop putting PVA all over my boots.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Jocasta.
Try not to spill.
Don't look. And then you would notice I was spilling too much.
Country life continues amidst the industry. And with the onset of lambing, there's a new addition to the Lucy family. While Jocasta thins the distemper, Caroline cares for her new ward. Then the distemper goes on.
Oh my goodness. That Caroline is a seriously bad painter.
Michael's always wanted a dog, but we're not terribly responsible to take on a dog. So Joe's our new dog, aren't you?
With the walls dry, it's time to outline the tree design in chalk.
I'm just using the white here as an undercoat for the pale coloured decoration that we're putting on top.
Finally, Jocasta paints the tree freehand, while Anthony waxes the beams. The finished drawing room is drawing nearer.
One day I hope this to be my drawing room. I'd like this to be a very, very special room when I entertain or anything like that. It's turned out far better than I ever imagined. I adore it. I must have brought that piece of furniture at some stage, knowing that Jocasta and I were going to turn it into the most wonderful piece of furniture. I do love very much the trees of life. They're fabulous. Up there is one of the birds that I drew, freehand.
A very special room needs a very special guest for tea.
I can remember coming up, well, a week ago, and seeing the whole thing in chaos. I can't believe the transformation. It's marvellous. Mirror's marvellous because, you know, you get the room twice.
Look what you've done to such a plain mirror.
Oh, that's just called distressing. We do it every day.
I think we were totally distressed when we were doing this room.
Please.
If Jocasta's Tree of Life takes your fancy and you'd like to try something similar, then all the materials she used and the techniques she employed are available in our fact sheet. It's packed full of information on all the items that we featured in the series. For your copy, send a cheque for £2 made payable to BSS, to Homefront Fact Sheet, BSS, PO Box 7, London W12 8UD. We'll be sending out fact sheets towards the end of the series. Wallpaper is a terrific way of getting colour and pattern into your home, and we're predicting that it's in for a real comeback. If you've never dared to paper your walls because you just haven't got a clue how to do it, don't despair. Homefront's Peter Plaskett is on hand to show you some tricks of the trade. There's more wallpaper in the shops than ever before. If you've money to spend, like the Lord Chancellor, then this Puget design at £800 a roll might take your fancy. If not, the DIY superstores and high street retailers have lots of original patterns from around just £6 a roll. Whatever your budget, remember wallpaper can be used in many different ways. Homefront's Peter Plaskett went to initiate some resistant Homefront viewers in the art of paper and paste. His first challenge was the South London home of Patrick and Elizabeth Racco and their son Alexander. On a budget of £350, they wanted something traditional to replace the painted anaglypta.
You're looking at the couple that have never hung a piece of wallpaper in their lives. We were never quite bold enough, were we, to strip it off, and because we were a bit frightened about what might be behind it, so we tended to just paint over it.
We really do need to get this off, so we've got to get cracking on this. So we need to clear everything out and then get stripping. We've hired a stripper here, which is a bit like being in a sauna now, isn't it? Steaming away. And essential stripper, so...
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thing each. Let's get stripping.
Right.
Once stripped, you'll need to fill in and line the walls with lining paper. This provides a good foundation for your new wallpaper. Meanwhile, in the modern Kensington flat of furniture designer Chris Blade, Peter wanted to show that wallpaper doesn't have to go on walls.
Hey, Chris.
Hi, Peter. Nice to see you.
What are we doing here then?
Right, well, I want to have something quite modern going in here and to go with the sort of decor of the flat.
I think really what we should do is something up here. An introduction into paper, not going as you normally would right the way around. I think if we actually start with the ceiling.
I think that could be stunning. One of the reasons I liked the idea of doing the ceiling is actually that I have these amazing chandeliers coming. They're rather like this, and they're wrought iron, with bunches of grapes on them and aluminium birds and glass leaves and things like that. So they're very, very over the top.
Next came the nice bit. Peter asked everyone to meet him for a bit of shopping. And first he had to find something classic for Elizabeth and Patrick's living room.
Now, I like that. So you've got a very traditional pattern. You've got stripes, which, because of the height, is good for the height. And I think that going round would look stunning.
But Peter had plans to do more than just hang this wallpaper.
We could get a GIMP. It's a flat braid. I'll show you that next. It's a flat braid, and we glue that round.
GIMP is traditionally applied around the edge of paper. It helps frame the wallpaper, but more importantly, gives the illusion that the wallpaper is in fact fabric. The racco's sorted, Peter now had to turn his attention to Chris's ceiling. By contrast, he wanted something with a very contemporary feel.
A bit more your style.
This is it. This is it. Yeah.
Now that's
nice. That is very
more of what I had in mind. It has that gold look.
Right.
So, and I think up on the ceiling, because we've got all those sort of the modern pieces and the walls, I think something like that's going to look stunning.
I think that would. And what sort of price is something like this then?
Well, this, unfortunately, is £100 per metre. So it's a bit out of your price range.
Well, persistence paid off. They managed to find a similar type of metallic finish paper in silver and gold, but for just £25 a roll. And Peter had plans to combine both on the ceiling.
That's going to be the border. That's the centrepiece. So.
And now to the task in hand. After marking the width of the roll, unfold the well-pasted paper as you progress across the ceiling. Another pair of hands is definitely useful. Brush the paper well to smooth out any wrinkles. Cut off any excess. On a wall, overlap the drops sufficiently to match the pattern. Line it up while the paste is still wet.
Keep it flat. You're much better sliding, leaving a little bit of a gap. A bit concerned about this GIMP.
To encourage Patrick to finish the rest of the room, Peter showed him how it would look with the GIMP set against it.
What I'm going to do is actually run that right the way along, like so. I mean, the reason gimping came in is that wallpaper, initially, they used to stretch fabric across, and it was a cheaper option, really, and still to make the room look as though it had the fabric stretched, to run the GIMP round, and it's quite nice to have those two different textures. And for somebody that's never lived with paper, what do you think?
I'm amazed. Both are, aren't we,
Yes.
really? I mean,
Yes.
if you'd said a week ago that we could have wallpapered our room on the budget that we had and gimped it, I mean, I wouldn't have believed you. I'm absolutely bowled over by it. It's a lovely colour, it's warm, it's working really well.
When you first showed us the gimping over the fireplace, I couldn't see it, and I didn't quite know why you were doing it, and I didn't think it was going to work, but I was wrong, and it has.
And what did Chris think about his ceiling?
I think it's stunning now, but initially I was actually very, very concerned about it, and I didn't think necessarily they were going to work very well. But once they went up and they started coming together, then it made an absolutely, it's just incredible. And also I think the silver is quite amazing because it reflects whatever the rest of the colour of the room is.
Yeah, it calms it down, doesn't it?
It does, and it would fit into many different rooms as well.
Mm.
If you're on a more limited budget, here's Peter's tip. He took 3 brightly coloured papers costing just £5.99 a roll. He marked a chalk line on the wall and then overlapped the blue on top of the red paper. He then cut off the excess to reveal waves of colour. For a final flourish, he used 3 different sized plates as templates to cut circles from the yellow paper. Style on a budget. The talented British designers is in evidence all around me here. Homefront is still pursuing its hunt for its Young Designer of the Year. To qualify, you need to be under 30 and either an interior design student or already working in the business. If you'd like to enter, send a photograph of a room that you've designed to Homefront Young Designer of the Year, room E304, BBC Television Centre, London W12 7RJ. If you'd like more information about the exhibition, call 0990 122 288. Next week on Homefront, designer Nishma Chande finds some fabulous fabrics for the barn. Anne McKevitt redesigns a studio flat for a rather messy bachelor. And Neville Griffiths takes me on a magical mystery tour. Neville, what exactly are we going to be doing?
Well, we're going to take this rusty pile of junk and we're going to turn it into a wonderful object of desire.
Well, I'm not sure about this at all, actually.
Well, you're going to be doing it.
Fine, okay. Well, until then, here's a finishing touch, which you can see at the show from Anne McKevitt. Bye-bye.
With summer on its way, eating outside is so much more fun. And to transform a dowdy table into a fantastic extravaganza takes very little time.
Start with a tablecloth, then lay a rattan blind lengthways on the cloth. Next, lay deck chair fabric across it. Use floor tiles of your choice as placemats. These will also keep the covering weighted in case it gets windy. Lay the table as normal, placing the napkins under the plates to stop them blowing away. And add a gerbera as a splash of colour. For the next bit, you'll need glasses, raffia, clothes pegs and labels. Take raffia and tie it around the glasses to add some style. Peg your name tags to the glasses to stop them blowing away. For colour, add proteas, palm fronds and some exotic fruit. Weigh the palm fronds down with some cobbles. To create a romantic ambience, don't forget the candlelight. A sweet corn tin is the perfect holder. Now all you need to add is the partner of your dreams.